Today we're making biltong. It's a traditional way to cure meat. It's quite a tasty snack and it's gained a lot of popularity all over the world. I've even seen it for sale in shops in the Middle East. I normally just eyeball this, but if you want to follow along on the world's worst scale, that might be important because sometimes the scale just resets itself. Salt. Some pepper. Coriander seeds whole. Then I put in a little chili, almost not noteworthy. This is just some pickle spice that I'm adding for flavor, but normally I just go with the mix that's in there right now. There it is, all mixed, nice and layered. Just at the taste test, I think it might need a bit more coriander. It weighs heavier now, as it wasn't reset to 0 with the plastic on it. Quick taste test. Seems about right now. If you were following along with my spices, it can do with a little bit more salt. It's not necessary for the curing sake. You can see there's no funnies anyway growing on the biltong. It's only the spices. It's just a personal preference, but you can always add salt afterwards as well. First it will need the vinegar and the Worcester sauce. Once again, also just eyeballing this mixture. The most important thing of making the biltong would be the vinegar and the salt. You don't really need much else, the rest is just flavor. But these days some people even put sugar in it. I know sugar preserves things, it just feels wrong. I have this little marinade bottle that I mix it in about between 40-60 to 50-50. For the meat today I have rump to make it with. Normally topside or silver side was used, but these days rump is cheaper than topside or silver side. I've also made it with sirloin in the past and that comes out just as yummy. I was lazy, so I had these sliced by the butcher. You have to slice it with the grain, and these I did about 1 centimeter thick, just so that they are ready soon, as I'm almost running out of my last batch. But I've had them up to 2 centimeters before with no problem. It just takes a bit longer to dry. Then sprinkle the spice on it. Fairly generous, as the spice also contains the salt. Flip it over. Repeat the steps and then I'll layer them up. You should use a plastic container or even one of those large Ziploc bags. Otherwise, with all the salt and the vinegar, it might cause a reaction with the metal container. And that's the lot. Now just to close it and put it in the fridge for 12 to 16 hours. It can stand a bit longer. Nothing bad will happen. It's just the sooner it hangs, the sooner it will dry. The sooner you can enjoy it. Within the next 16 hours or so, every now and then I will just flip the box. It will get the vinegar and Worcester sauce running nicely through it, just to make sure that all sides are covered. I haven't used all the spice. I used about a quarter to a third of it. What's nice about having it, if you taste there's something you might have missed in the previous spice, so for the next batch of biltong, too little or too much of a spice, you just adjust it, continue, and the spice will evolve with your making biltong. You can also taste your spice by quickly frying a piece, tasting it, and seeing if anything is needed. After 16 hours, it's now time to hang up the biltong. I made a little biltong box out of cardboard. You don't really need much else. I'll make a video on how to make your own biltong box. I hope it will be up by next week. There, quickly off to the side, you can see I have one of those plastic biltong king boxes. I just find the cardboard box works a lot better. We'll also need some hooks. I got little plastic hooks that I can reuse. If you're in a pinch, you can bend some wire or use some paper clips. Just sanitize it or let it soak in some vinegar. Still looks pretty much the same. Just push the hook through the meat, it goes in quite easily, then you hang it up. You want fair gaps in between the meat. They shouldn't be touching each other and they should not be touching the sides. If you're running out of space on the sides, you can make the double one, as long as you've got space at the bottom. Then just one last look to make sure that nothing is touching each other. I'm keeping this plastic tray in the bottom to catch the driplets, just so it doesn't soak into the cardboard box too much. And then it stays in here for 4 to 5 days. I'll let you know how long the specific batch took when I take them out. It's been about 3.5 days. They're now to the consistency where I would say it's edible. It's all personal preference. I just normally feel them like this, and then from the softness or the hardness you can say if it's ready. There's a lot of them now. It's shrunk a little bit, I think, from let's say day 2.5 to day 3.5, as you need to go taste it every 6 hours just to make sure that it's still right. One thing that helps with biltong is if you have a biltong slicer. It's not necessary though, you can use a pocket knife or even a normal knife on a breadboard, or a little specialized biltong knife like that. As long as it's got a sharp end, you can eat biltong. So if you've made all this biltong and you really don't have a knife, you can also start biting it in a corner, because it's all kind of grainy. It will just work like this. You'll tear it off, and there's a nice little piece to chew. It's on a nice little string that you can just pick off. And of course, any pocket knife or knife can do, especially if you have a little trusted opener or number 8 close by. You want to cut above your thumb so that if it goes through you don't accidentally amputate anything. I normally take it right onto the edge, common method, especially if you have to divide it out between the family members. You cut them their portion, cut it all the way through, then they have a little pull match thing where they can just bite it. And then the last piece a little bit bigger. There's your nice little pull strips. If you have a deli slicer, you can slice it with that. You can get a bit thinner cuts. Just to show you the consistency or something. So one of the reasons to cut the biltong with the grain, after you've dried it and you cut it, you have your slice, it's quite a tough meat. So when you bite it, it comes apart very quickly and it's a lot more chewable. The other reason, which I'm not sure if it is science or superstition, is that as it's hanging and the grain is pointing downwards, it's just a lot easier for the moisture to run off of it. If you're going to eat the biltong within the week, you can keep it at room temperature. That way the fat is also at a nice temperature where it doesn't stick to your mouth. You can keep it in a cotton bag, just let it hang up, let it lay down, or a brown paper bag also works. For longer storage you can freeze it. It freezes quite well. Just give it a day or so to thaw. For me, biltong is a snack as it is. I won't really use it as an ingredient, and when I use it as an ingredient, I'll use it in something where it keeps as much of its original form. In a salad, when you can just put it on top, similar to croutons, it's there, you can eat it. If you're not fond of the fat as it is, you can still make the biltong with the fat in. Afterwards, tear the fat off. It tears off quite easily. And then you can mix it in with some mince and make some nice biltong fat mince patties. Biltong also pairs quite nicely with avo, so in that salad add some avo on your burger with your patty. My friend over at Stuff We Do did a nice biltong potjie. I'll put a link in the description because I don't know how to just point and make it magically appear on the screen. Curing meat can be quite dangerous. You should know what you're doing. Please go read up on it before you attempt this. And the moment there's any signs of mold, stay away from it. I will put some Amazon affiliate links into the description about various things I've used throughout this video. I hope you make your own batch. Let me know how it goes. Please feel free to ask any questions below in the comments. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Please go check out my friend at Stuff We Do's video as well.